Albert. God. Em the guy in house. We're bad. He's wrong. How come that I'm ค่ะหัว อืม
So let's one eye forwards, gazing at our knees. Inhale, you can gaze at the floor and flat back. Exhale, your left foot back. Use your breath. Gaze ahead so you don't drop the head. And then hug your legs. Again, keep the head on the floor. If you think about tucking your tailbone towards the top of the mat, so you've got as much of the back of the body resting on the floor as you can. Okay, let's sit up nice and tall. Towards the top of the mat, as much of the back of the body resting on the floor as you can. Breathe all over the time, it feels good. Get a little bit deeper into the left buttock. And then we can just bring both knees back into the chest.
Oh. Oh my God. You broke it. Mm.